Away the lads. Hello and welcome to Newcastle, or the Tyne as it's known locally. My name's Darren Bugg, and as you probably know by now, I do reviews of budget hotels across the United Kingdom for business travellers. Well, today I'm staying right in the centre of the city of Newcastle in what I think might be one of the very best budget hotels right here in the centre of town. Now, I just need to mention I'm not actually here today on business. I do normally make reviews of business hotels for business people, but this hotel would actually make a superb hotel for any business person or salesperson who's travelling around the country and doesn't want to spend too much money but wants a central location and wants a reasonable quality hotel at a good price. I'm staying in the Newcastle Quayside Travelodge. Now, I need to put emphasis on the word quayside because I have stayed in other travel lodges in Newcastle, and most recently I stayed in one called Newcastle Central, and it was perfectly okay, but there were two disadvantages with it. Firstly, it wasn't actually as central as the one I'm staying in today. It was just a little bit out of the centre of Newcastle, even though it's called Newcastle Central. And secondly, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, it was a little bit dirty. Not horrendous, nothing too bad, but you could just tell that it hadn't been cleaned perhaps as well as it should have done. Today I've paid a little bit more and I'm staying in the most central Travelodge of all, which is Newcastle Quayside Travelodge. And remember that if you want to be central, then Newcastle Central isn't the most central Travelodge, it's actually Newcastle Quayside. And it's right by the River Tyne. It's literally overlooking the river. It's superb views. Unfortunately, I won't get to enjoy those views because I'm up at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning and I'm flying out from Newcastle Airport. So I arrived more or less in the dark, and unfortunately I won't get to enjoy the wonderful views over the River Tyne, which is a shame. And there are beautiful big windows as well looking out over the river, so it's a lovely spot to stay, but I'm not actually going to get the benefit of it. So to begin with, I just wanted to say I think the staff are superb. I phoned last night because I was a little bit worried about, it's only a minor thing, but it actually is quite important for me, and that is I've got quite a large bag with me because I'm flying out from the airport tomorrow, but I couldn't take it with me where I was going because I was actually heading to Newcastle United's ground, and they have strict limits, as most football clubs do, on the size of bags you can take into a stadium, and I got a great big bag, and it wouldn't have been allowed in the stadium, so I didn't know what to do. And I rang the hotel and I spoke to a really nice friendly chap, and he said, yeah, no problem at all, just come whenever you want in the morning, drop your bag off, and if we've got a room for you, you can even have your room early. And that was at no extra charge, so that's fantastic. I actually arrived a bit too early, so they didn't have a room available for me. I mean, you can get an early check-in, you can pay extra for an early check-in anyway, but there was no point because I was heading to the football ground. I knew I wouldn't need the hotel until about 6 p.m, but there was this issue of what to do with my bag. So it's really friendly chaps, there's no problem, come along. So I arrived from the station, I dropped off my bag. It's about 10-15 minute walk from the train station. Really nice people, they've got a very secure system. Then I went off to the football ground to St James's Park, and now I'm back here again at my room. It's about 6:30, picked up my bag, really efficient, really friendly people, very helpful, bend over backwards to try and help you. So top marks to the staff here. I'm going to now just give you a quick tour of the room, and as you probably know, most travel lodges are pretty similar. They have similar facilities. This isn't one of the super rooms, this is just a standard room, but it is actually one of the nicest travel lodges that I've stayed in. I'll give you a tour of the room now, see what you think, and as I go round I'll explain what I like about it and why I think it's better than a lot of the other travel lodges that I've stayed in. So I'm going to start this room tour with the bed, and as usual, as you'd expect at a travel lodge, the beds are very, very comfortable, and I'm sure I'll get a good night's sleep tonight in this bed. It's also very clean. I've checked it out, and you may have seen my other film on YouTube about checking for bed bugs when you come into a hotel if you're on a business trip. If you stay at a lot of hotels, as I do, then it's very wise to check the bed for bed bugs before you actually unpack your case. Now, I do have another film on YouTube, and I strongly recommend that you watch it. It's only a few minutes long, but it shows you exactly how to identify bed bugs, because it's not always obvious, and it is important that you check before you empty any of your cases. But this bed is immaculately clean, and it's also very, very comfortable. There's plenty of lighting in this room. You've got those side lights for reading. There's the lights in the ceiling. Now, there was a problem. I've got to be fair and point it out. The desk lamp doesn't work. I've tried plugging it in, I've fiddled around with it. It's just basically not working. I'm not going to bother saying anything at reception because I'm flying off from Newcastle Airport tomorrow morning, and I'm going to be up at about 5 a.m. So I don't really care. I'm not here on business this time. Normally my films are about business hotels, but I'm actually flying out to Italy for a football match, and I just want to get out of bed really early. I'm not doing any work. I don't need the desk, so I'm not bothered. And it's too much hassle to tell them that the desk lamp doesn't work. Now, if I was here on business, as I normally am, then I would be bothered about that. I would need a desk lamp to do some work on my laptop, but I'm not too bothered this time. Okay. There's a fan in the room, and this is a bit weird because normally you get fans in travel lodges, but not in the Travelodge super rooms, because the super rooms have air conditioning. So I couldn't understand why they've given a fan, because if I swing right across here, there is air conditioning, and it's a really good one as well. If you've seen my other film on YouTube about Travelodge super rooms, then you'll know that the super rooms do have air conditioning, and it's just like this. However, slight problem, guess what? It's not working, which is really annoying. So that's the desk lamp's not working, and also the air conditioning's not working. And I wonder if perhaps that's why they've put the fan in the room, because the aircon's not working. But normally in these type of rooms you don't get aircon anyway, so I guess if it had been working it would have been a bonus. I wasn't actually expecting it. You do get it in super rooms as standard, but you don't get it in the normal rooms at Travelodge. So maybe that's why they've given me the desk fan. Usual stinginess with tea and coffee and stuff. I'll just show you what they have done though, which is quite interesting. I'm sure I'm not the only person who goes down to reception and says, "You've only given me 2 coffees and there's hardly any milk." So I went down to reception and says, "I can have a few more." And they've got all these bags ready prepared with milk and coffee and tea in. "How many bags do you want?" I said, "Only one. I'm leaving at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning." But it's quite funny because other people must have complained. And so they've got these bags ready prepared at reception for people who go downstairs and say, "I haven't got enough tea or coffee." They never give enough tea or coffee. I just don't understand why they don't just give you more to begin with. But anyway. So plastic kettle, I prefer metal kettles. You get them in Premier Inn. Here at Travelodge, you just get the plastic kettle, unfortunately. Plenty of sockets for charging whatever you need to charge. In my case it's usually camera equipment and obviously mobile phone. And then you've got a chair there. It's not brilliant, it's okay, it's comfortable enough. And I'll swing around and they give me another one. I don't know why I've got 2 chairs, but it's quite handy just to put my flight bag on, ready for jetting off from Newcastle Airport tomorrow. So that's the room, the bed, the desk, the fan, the air conditioning that doesn't work, and a heater here as well. Maybe, I mean, this is unusual, but maybe again it's because the air conditioning's not working, so they're given a fan and a heater instead. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But anyway, it doesn't bother me. If I'd been staying longer, if I'd been here on business, I would have been bothered about that lamp not working. Also, I'm here in the middle of winter, so I'm not too bothered about air conditioning anyway, but I just wanted to point out that it isn't working, there's something wrong with it. Samsung television, 32-inch TV. It's a Samsung, so it's a good one. It's one of those where, I mentioned this on quite a few of my films, you can just see at the back, if you do what I do, you can bring your laptop or USB stick or whatever, stick it in the back and watch telly or watch films, whatever you want to watch. If you don't want to just watch terrestrial TV, you can plug your USB stick in the back. I've got to be careful, I'm going to knock it off the wall at this rate. But that is something, some people aren't bothered. For me, it is quite important because if I'm away for a few days, I like to download things off the internet and then watch them on the TV. So it's good to have a telly that you can stick your USB stick in the back of the TV. And Samsung are very good for that. They're usually one of the best TVs for enabling you to do that sort of thing. And then the usual problem, which I mention in all my films, coat hangers. It's not really a wardrobe, it's just one of these hanger things. They never give you enough hangers. Again, I'm only staying for one night, so I'm not even going to take stuff out of my bag, just what I'm wearing tomorrow and my raincoat. So that's okay, that's fine. You know what you're getting in Travelodge, that's basically what you get, a few coat hangers and that's it. Right, let's have a look at the bathroom. Well, first of all, as you can see, there's a shower, but there's not a bath, but that's fine. These days, in the more modern Travelodges, you do just get a shower with one of those horrible, manky shower curtains that they give you, although this one's nice and clean, so that's fine. It's a tiny bathroom, it's not much room, but I'm not bothered. Just a wash basin, usual toilet, mirror with me. That's all you need, really. Nice and clean, functional. It's not brilliant, it's not the height of luxury, but it'll get me clean tomorrow morning, and that's all I need. The room is fairly spacious. It's not massive, but I've been in much smaller rooms. That's not particularly small compared to, for example, I've stayed in some Ibis hotels, which are tiny. But this room is not massive, but it's not tiny either. But you may have just spotted something which I think is the best feature of the whole room, and that is the window. Wow. Now normally in Travelodges you get these horrible little windows that let very little light in. This one is fantastic. It's right from the ceiling almost to the floor, and it's a big wide window, and this is going to let a lot of light in. But even better, the view is superb. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to enjoy it because I only arrived here at 6 p.m. and I'm leaving at 5 in the morning, tomorrow morning, the unearthly hour of 5 a.m. So I'm not going to enjoy this view at all. But if I'd been staying longer, I'd have had a wonderful view out over the high level bridge, which is one of the main bridges in the centre of Newcastle. Now, you're not going to get a very good impression because of the reflection. So what I'm going to do just for a second is turn the lights off and see if that helps, and then you'll see what I'm getting at. Another light off. So now we're in the dark, and if I go to the window, you might not be able to quite get what I'm saying, but wow, we're looking straight out onto the River Tyne, and you've got the bridge in the background there, which you might not be able to see because it's dark, and then over on the other side is all the lights of Gateshead. This is a wonderful view down right onto the river, and that is superb. So that for me is the biggest selling point of the hotel. I don't know if all the rooms have this view. I mean, I guess if you're on the other side you won't get this view, but I'm on the top floor and I've got a view right over the River Tyne. So maybe I've just got lucky. Maybe they realised that I was making a film for YouTube, so they gave me a better room, I don't know. But the view doesn't really look that great in this film because it's night time. And as I say, it's not really going to bother me anyway because I'm only here for somewhere to sleep. I've been to a football match this afternoon. I'm going to another one in Italy tomorrow night. I'm just flying out from Newcastle, and so I'm not particularly bothered about the view. But if you're staying here yourself for a few nights, make sure you get a room on the top floor and make sure it's overlooking the river, and you have got a superb view out there. So what are my overall views of this Travelodge? Well, as I indicated earlier, I think it's fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best budget hotels here in Newcastle. I have stayed in the other Travelodges. There's several Travelodges in Newcastle, and the one nearest to here is the one called Newcastle Central. Now that isn't as central as this. This is by far the most central Travelodge, and it's actually called Newcastle Quayside, which is a bit confusing. Because this really ought to be called Newcastle Central, since it is so central. but this is called Newcastle Quayside. It's a lot better than the one that's called Newcastle Central, which I have stayed in. It's worth it just for these wonderful views, to be honest, over the river. It's really nice views. Location is superb. You're about 10 minutes walk from the train station. Unfortunately, it is uphill, which isn't particularly brilliant. When I say uphill, if you've never been to Newcastle, it is very, very steep. So if you have walking difficulties, if you're elderly, if you don't want a steep walk to the station, then definitely don't stay here, because it's a really steep hill all the way up to the train station. But it's only about a 10-minute walk, and it's right next to the river, which is fantastic, not far from all the shops and all the entertainment, restaurants. There is a superb Wetherspoons pub almost next door, which overlooks the river, which is really impressive. And I've been in that pub quite a few times over the years. And the staff are really friendly and really helpful. So my overall view is I will definitely be staying here again. I only have two kind of complaints, but they're things that I'm not actually going to complain about. One of them is the fact the desk lamp wasn't working. Now, I think if I was to go to reception, they would just say, we'll fix it. And then they'd realise it needed a new bulb and they couldn't fix it, so they'd give me another room. And also the aircon isn't working. Now, I'm not bothered about that either, because it's the middle of winter and I'm off at 5 AM tomorrow morning anyway, so I don't really care. I've had these situations before where you go to reception at a Travelodge and you say something isn't working and they can't fix it, so they just give you another room. And I just can't be bothered. I have so little time. I want to be in bed early tonight. I want to be up early tomorrow, and having to unpack all my things and move to another room, it's just not worth the hassle. So on this occasion, I'm not bothered. But if you are staying for longer, you would probably want to go down to reception and say, hang on a minute, mate, you've got two things not working here, especially in the middle of summer. You would want that air conditioning to be working. And if you're coming here on business, which I normally would be, then also you would want your desk lamp to work so that you can do some work on your laptop on the desk. So two minor marks for that. On this occasion, I'm not bothered. I would normally have just gone to reception and they'd probably give me another room, but then they might give me a room that didn't have such good view on the top floor, so who knows. Anyway, this is the Newcastle Quayside Travelodge. I really like it, apart from those two minor hindrances that I mentioned. Great staff, great location, great views, great window, and I actually paid quite a low price for this. Now, it's not always low. Depending on when you come, this can be quite an expensive Travelodge, but I've come in the middle of winter and it hasn't cost much. So I highly recommend it, and I will definitely be staying here again. My name's Darren Bugg. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this has been useful. Please remember to like, to subscribe, and tell your friends and share this video, and hope you enjoy your visit to Newcastle.